What's up, everybody? This is Jose Trujillo, the world's greatest living artist, baby. Your boy. Let's do this. I gotta go get some coffee. So first of all, happy Thanksgiving for those of you celebrating Thanksgiving in the U.S. and I don't know where else, but yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays, man. It's like all kinds of holidays. All kinds of holidays are happening. What's up? How's it going, Vivek? What's happening? So I'm gonna go get some coffee. That's what I'm gonna do this morning. Not going to the studio this morning. I'm gonna chill here with my family. I need to go do my morning ritual. Gotta do some coffee. Yeah. I was out of it for probably like a week or so. Trying to get some of that energy, man. Trying to suck some of the energy. So something that I've experienced in my career is from time to time. Okay, from time to time, I've experienced this in my career, where my mind becomes fixed on something, and so I completely drain the hell out of it. And this is something that more and more I try to learn to conquer. But it gets to a point where I have to take a bit of time off. I have to unplug. Not necessarily from just work, but from whatever is making me think that. And so it's almost like I don't know if this happens to you guys, but it's almost like you get to a point where you're like, I'm not getting anywhere. If I continue trying to fix this thing or trying to work this challenge out or whatever, it's just not going to get anywhere. And so, and I know what the answer is. I think that the problem with it is that once I'm being challenged by that mental attitude, I'm not able to see the solution, even though I know what the solution is. It's pretty weird like that. And so, bless me. Oh man. And so I accommodate time to take some time off. And the whole thing is resisting. That's really where it comes from. Hello. The whole thing is resisting. If you as an artist, you're going after something, you want to get some gallery exhibits, you want to get paid for your artwork, whatever it is you're trying to do, any form of resistance, not just resistance as in something pulling you, okay, but a wall in front of you, okay. Sometimes it's not just something pulling you back. Sometimes it's something stopping you from moving forward. And any sort of resistance needs to get dropped. It needs to be recognized first. You need to recognize it so you can drop it. And so that's been a bit of a challenge in my career in general. Yeah, so that's something that I want to talk about, because it's one of the things that I experienced. And if I'm experiencing something like this, I'm sure other artists are experiencing something similar in their own way or whatever. But at the end of the day, what it means is you're working towards something and you get fixed. Your mind gets fixed on whatever solution you're trying to come up with. And then that's all you're thinking about, day in, day out. And if that's all you're thinking about, everything else gets, like, you become tunnel vision with it. It has helped me in moments, but if I stretch it too much, it becomes a force against me. It becomes a force against me. And so I have to, like, completely pull out. I have to just completely pull out and center myself back again. Where I am most creative, where I am most expansive, is when I am in non-resistance mode. Just not resisting anything. Everything's fine. Whatever whatever I'm going after, I don't see it as a challenge. I don't see anything really challenging. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that made any sense, man, because I feel like people are probably listening to this being like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And some people do get it, though. I know some people do get it, because I coach artists, and they tell me, dude, this happens to me exactly, but in this area or in this other area. And the thing is that happens to some people, and they're not able to function anymore. That used to happen to me, where it happened to me, and I just could not function. And I've gotten to a point where I know how to function, but it's just very painful, because your mind is just running all the time about trying to get this solution, get this solution out of the way. But I do function. I just get tunnel vision function. And some other artists that I talk to, that they haven't trained themselves, or it hasn't happened to them enough. They function, but I mean they don't function anymore. Right? They stop creating artwork. They stop creating whatever they're creating, and that's the end of that. And again, that used to happen to me. And I got to a point where I was like, you know what, before this starts happening to me, before I completely lose my sense of reality in my career, like what's real and what's not in my own career, I'm going to take some steps back, and I'm going to recenter myself. It's a pretty interesting thing. And so that is something that I practice. That is something that I encourage artists to do. I've created quite a few videos they're on YouTube, where I tell other artists, if you're feeling like, there's two ways to deal with it. Either the best way to deal with it, in my opinion, is of course to recognize that it's resistance, and that you're experiencing a resistance, and do it all. Do all the things that you need to do, without giving any one particular one over attention. While you're doing it, you do it, and then you move on, and then it's not in your mind anymore. Right? You move on to the next thing. But if you're at a point where you've saturated your mind too much with mental chatter about that particular project, take some steps back. Those are the two ways that I've dealt with this. Most of the time, I know what's going on, and I just get busier, right? Not with a single thing, but I get busier wide, and then I get out of it, because it's your mind has time to. It's like when people say, "Oh, take a walk," "Oh, you're thinking too much about this. Go take a walk, or go do something else." That does work. It does work, but for me, I have to do many other things. If I do just one more, if I go take a walk, I'll go take a walk and keep thinking about that same thing. Like I'll be taking a walk, thinking about coming up with a solution. And so 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 it doesn't work like that for me. The way that it works for me is like, oh, okay, go take a walk, but also come back and do other things that have nothing to do with that. Many other things, like stack them. Things that have nothing to do with that, just stack them. But there are moments that I cannot do that, just because I'm way too stuck on the loop. But I can't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do these other things. No, it's not even possible, because I'm way too stuck on the loop. And so I just take steps back. I took a few days back. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do anything, really, anything in the next 3 days. Like nothing. I'm not going to think about, worry about. I'm just gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop the whole thing, and then I center myself. I think it gives me perspective. Yeah, because when you're thinking about something, Let's say you're in an argument or whatever, and then you leave the situation, but you don't only leave it. You end up doing something else. Your mind has to occupy itself in something else. And then after that, you don't come back to the situation. You do something else. And then, you go to work, and then you take care of something else, and then you take care of something else, and then maybe you clean your yard or whatever, your house, and you work on a different project. And then next time that you come back to that situation, you come back fresh to it. Here, Nassart says, do you agree with overposting a day? Or does that saturate things? Overposting a day. I don't understand. You have to make that more. It's too broad. I don't know what you mean by that. Overposting. Overposting what? Overposting social media? Overposting art? Overposting what? What are you talking about? It's too broad of a question. On Instagram, overposting like on your wall and stuff. Yeah, I mean, so I know that you make a living with your artwork. That I know. There's no such thing as overdoing anything. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna give you this gift. There's no such thing as overdoing anything. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as that. Overdoing anything. The problem of a guy like you who's doing it by yourself, or maybe you have someone else to help you, but essentially you're an artist, so you end up doing it yourself. The problem with that is that you are putting yourself in a position where exactly what I'm talking about happens to you, or it's happening, or it's going to happen to you. Exactly what I'm talking about here, which is you get so saturated on one place that you can't see the other stuff, and so you start missing opportunity because you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be posting on Instagram. I'm gonna be posting on Instagram. But you're missing all these other stuff. And Instagram can only take you so far. Instagram is going to help you. How can I say this, man? Because this I learned from a guru. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you're talking about. Some people listening to this may not understand what we're talking about here, but I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly where you're coming from. Doing a lot of something is for an employee, my friend. That's what it's for. That's who that job is for. But that's expensive, right? An employee is very expensive. An employee is an expensive asset to your business. And so you're going to be in a constant struggle as an artist between what should I be doing? Should I be posting 2 hours, or should I just post for 15 minutes? Or because I have this other thing over here that I need to work on, and this other thing that is also important. So there's all these things that are super important. They're super important, and so it's not a matter of doing them or not. It's a matter of when you start doing something too much, you start creating problems in that area. When you start doing something, one thing too much, you begin to create problems in that area. You start talking to the same person every day, many hours or many times. I bet you anything you're gonna start creating problems with that person. They're gonna start rubbing you the wrong way. You're gonna start rubbing them the wrong way. Anything that you do too much of, you're bound to create problems. That's one of the reasons, which is what I'm talking about here. One of the reasons how I started this video. It's one of the reasons that I don't recommend artists doing that. Now, when I say how does Instagram work, when I made that video, I was like, dude, 8 hours on it, right? That's how it works. I'm talking about someone who wants to make just Instagram work. But if you are an artist who is already monetizing and you already have other places where you're creating and generating income, that job is either for you to do, this is just my humble opinion, that job of posting should be for you to do no more than 30 minutes a day, and I'm stretching it. You shouldn't be on Instagram more than 30 minutes a day unless you're making like a video like this, but not posting and stuff. Or it should be for an assistant. It should be an assistant's job. Those are my 2 cents on it. I hope this makes any sense. Putting all the eggs in one basket is what you mean, Jose. Yeah. Now, putting all the eggs in one basket it can be a little tricky for some people also, because if you go and if you look for information about this type of stuff, what I'm talking about here on YouTube, you'll find people talking about, don't put all your eggs in one basket, diversify, right? And then the very, very successful say, no, put all your eggs in one basket, do not diversify, focus on one thing. It's a very broad thing. They're talking about different things. When you're a solopreneur, you're doing all of these things. Nas, I know you make a living with your artwork, and so I know for a fact. I don't know you personally, but I know for a fact you have to be wearing at least 5 or 6 hats every day. I know this. This is a no-brainer. You have to be wearing 5 or 6 hats, and so since you're wearing 5 or 6 hats a day, at least. If you're making some even more serious cash, you're probably wearing more hats than 5 or 6. You have to be on social media, right? You have to be packaging artwork. You have to be creating the artwork. Of course, you have to be listing artwork on the places where you're selling it. And on top of that, you have to be doing all the paperwork in the studio. Making sure that the communication, right? Because one thing is to sell something, another thing is you have to communicate with the person you sold it to. You know, your painting is shipping out such and such date, blah, 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 blah. Hey, my painting hasn't arrived. Boom, you pick up the phone and you deal with it. You have to call FedEx or whatever the courier is in your country. And you have to deal with all these things. These are all different hats. You have to go to the art supply store and buy, or you have to go online. It doesn't matter. It still takes time. It takes energy, focus, right? You have to focus. Energy, and you have to do so many different things, and so because you're doing all of these different things, the artist gets this shiny shit syndrome. You know, we see that, oh, YouTube, man, I gotta be on YouTube, and then we go and we deposit our energy onto YouTube, and it's a lot of energy that you deposit on YouTube. This I learned from a mentor. A mentor of mine told me, you should not spend more than 15 minutes on any given activity. If you are, it better be a direct money-making activity, meaning I sold a commission and I'm painting the commission. Or I'm going to sell this on eBay at auction and I'm painting this painting. I'm making this painting. Those are the only places you should be spending more than 15 minutes. Other than that, you shouldn't be spending more than 15 minutes on any given activity. And you should be doing many activities a day. And that's difficult for a solopreneur because a solopreneur wants to get their hands on everything. We just do. And we say, well, my energy, I don't have to pay anyone. It's free. I could do it. I could be on Instagram for like 3 hours. Or I could post a lot on Instagram. Yeah, but you're missing out. What about Twitter? What about LinkedIn? What about Facebook? What about YouTube? What about TikTok? Man, TikTok is big right now. What about TikTok? So you're missing all of that. What about sending out emails? What about sending out postcards to your past clients or future clients? What about setting up something new, something fresh? A joint venture with someone, with a store, with an online shop. What about opening a new online shop? You see? So you start. Basically, what you start doing is you start fucking with yourself. You start shooting yourself on the leg. Every time that you over focus on any one thing that is not even I've learned even now at this point in my career, if you over focus on shit that brings in money directly, even that's bad. If you're like, oh my God, if I paint so many hours a day and I make so many paintings, oh my God, this is awesome. I'm going to do this all day. Even that is going to start taking a toll on you. Even that. If I make 2 commissions a day, or if I paint for X amount of hours, and then, you start doing your math. When you start earning income, you start doing math like that. Because you're trading your time. As a solopreneur, you're always trading your time. Nassart says it becomes draining. Yeah. Posting and listing gets in the creating sometimes, especially on a big scale. Yeah. Yeah. But it does mean in this case, who has the Ayman Ali, in this case I am talking about putting all the eggs in one basket. That is very difficult. In the broad picture, you should be putting all your eggs in one basket. What I mean by that basket is your art career, right? So you should be only focusing on your art career. But in the micro, you should not do that. In the macro, you should put all your eggs in the basket. And this basket is called your art career. You shouldn't be trying to be like, this is what I think, okay? I'm not saying that this is the only way, but this is what I think. You should not be like, oh, I'm going to get a second job and a third job, and I'm also going to paint on the side. And I don't think it's going to work that way. I think it's like, I'm going to create artwork, and I'm going to create all these different lines to generate income to my art career. Let me order some coffee, guys. What's up, Steban? How's it going, Amy?
Hi, what can we get started for you?
Yeah, can I please have a venti pike place with steam half and half and classic?
You got it. Anything else?
Yeah, a venti Starbucks double shot on ice.
Of course.
And let me have a grande lemonade.
Okay.
And 2 of those plum cheese Danish, the little plum cheese.
Gotcha. Anything else?
That would be all.
All right. You said that was a grande lemonade, right?
Yeah. Got to order some coffee.
Those Danishes in for you. It's going to be $18.64.
Cool. Thank you. And so that's the whole idea. The solopreneur is always going to be thinking that's free, and it's just going to take my energy, and that's one of the biggest, baddest mistakes we do. Oh, I could do that. Yeah, you could, but should you be doing that? Oh, I could package the artwork. Oh, I could do that. Yeah, you could, but should you be doing that? And in the beginning, there is no income really to pay someone else to do it. That's why you end up packaging your own artwork, or if you have a spouse or friend or someone that you can even give that person. You can even make deals with that person. Shit, man. Like, I'm barely learning some stuff that, man, if I knew back then. Like, for example, let's say that you want to open a Saatchi art, right? You're like, man, it'd be great to open a Saatchi art, but I don't have any money to pay someone to help me with that. And I'm so busy with all these other things over here. You should be able to talk to someone who you trust and do deals with that person. Be like, look, this is going to be your store. You're going to be opening the store. You're going to take care of the store. You're going to get my inventory. You're going to take photos of it. You're going to make the listings. You're going to create. This is going to be your store, dude. This is your opportunity. There's no money right now. I can't pay you. There's no money coming in. But as soon as the money, because the money will eventually start coming in when you open stores, you eventually start selling stuff. If you're consistent with it. Most people are not consistent, so that's why they're like, man, I had an Etsy shop and I never sold anything. Well, dude, you're not consistent with it. That's why not. That's why you don't sell anything. You gotta be consistent. You gotta every day. You gotta be doing something there, dropping something. Be there. You have to be there every day. And so you could do this with someone. Be like, hey, this shop is yours. Like, not yours. Like, make a contract if you have to. I don't know. But be like, as soon as it starts generating income, you get X percentage. You get X percent. And make sure you put their percentage in the price, because you're not getting paid anything. So this is where you get smart. Okay? This is where you get smart. I know a lot of artists out there, including myself, I made this mistake that I didn't account, because I was trying to make a living and make some income for myself. I didn't account for all the other expenses in life. And so that's why when you go you go to a gallery and they're like, oh my gosh, how much, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, how much is that painting? Oh my God, it's like, whatever, $20,000 or whatever. They're not thinking about, as much as we can get. Yeah, no, they're like, dude, the artist is going to take 10. Uncle Sam is going to take another 3, 4. At the end of the day, if the artist is lucky, they'll keep 6 of that from that 20K. And then they have to account for whoever they're paying. Like the owner, if they're lucky, probably the owner gets $2,000-$3,000 out of that when they sell a $20,000 painting. If they're lucky, after everything is said and done, after everything's paid. If they're lucky. I don't even think that's maybe a couple of grand at most. And so this is why those prices are that way, guys. This is the reason why. So when you could set up something with someone, with a friend or someone you trust, and be like, you know what, this is going to be your store. You can come to my studio. You're going to take photographs of my artwork. You're going to open this new store, or you're going to go and pitch galleries for me. This is your job. You're going to do that in Sacramento. You're going to do that in Phoenix. You're going to do this in Austin. You're going to be pitching gallery shows for me. This is your job. I cannot do this. I'm already busy doing this other shit. Okay? But this is your gig, man. As soon as money starts coming in, then you work something out with them. And you include that in the price per painting. So if your paintings were $1,000, I don't know, a small painting, and you're going to give this person 30-40% of the income generated or whatever, because it's their, it has to be juicy for them, because it's not a job, right? It has to be juicy. It has to be a business for them. And so you include that price in there. You account for that. You're like, okay, well, the painting should cost, $1,500 or $2,000 instead of $1,000. This is some stuff I wish I would have understood. Like I had heard about that, but I didn't. Too stupid, too green, too verde, as we say in Spanish. Muy verde. Didn't know better. But this is very cool stuff that you can do to multiply yourself. Instead of doing what
1864. Awesome.
what every artist does, which is, how can I do more myself? You can't do more yourself. There's no way. In order to get to further places, you're gonna need help. I think there's an African proverb that says, if you want to get there fast, go alone. If you want to get far, go with others, right?
This is all ready.
So if you want to get there fast, Do it yourself. DIY the whole thing if you want to get there fast. Whatever there is. But if you want to explode this thing, if you want to start making, I don't know, bigger plans, bigger goals, you need a team. And this doesn't mean that they're like your hired team. No, but you need people around you to help you. Trying to get my coffee on, man.
Sugar plums?
Thank you. Can I get a couple of for the other ones?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, look at one.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving for everybody.
You too.
Thank you. Oh, that was sweet. He thought I was saying Happy Thanksgiving to him. I was too, in my heart. In my heart, I'm saying Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. My friend Amendez. Here, let me park right here so that I can read what Armin said, wrote. Boom, 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 boom. Take this thing off. Let's see. I feel overwhelmed now after hearing this many things to be done. It's just been a couple of years as a full-time artist. No, but you don't please. My intention is not to overwhelm anyone. I apologize if that's how it came out. Now, what I want to be able to convey here is that there's different stages for everybody. You know, there's different stages, and if you're an artist, if you're doing this thing full time, there's different stages where you can go. What I'm actually trying to do is trying to get artists to not overwhelm themselves. So I guess I did a horrible job. What I'm sharing here is don't get stuck in one thing. Like Nas just asked, is there such thing as overposting on Instagram? And I'm like, no, there isn't. I mean, look at my Instagram. I over 3,000 I think posts. There isn't such thing as overposting. However, if you are the person that's doing all these things because you're the artist, you should be careful on utilizing your time. Utilize your time correctly. Like, notice how I'm doing this shit while I'm in the car. You know, it's very rare when I just sit there and I'm gonna make a video. It's very, very rare. As a matter of fact, I used to do this every morning, and then my times, my schedules, and the way that I started doing things started changing. I started using the mornings to make sales calls, you know, to contact people that have expressed interest, or I'm expressing interest on someone else too, you know, be it a gallery or some sort of opportunity. I use the morning now to make those calls and not to make like long Instagram videos anymore. I keep them very short. In the morning. Early in the morning. But yeah, no, there's different stages for everybody. That's all I'm saying. There's different stages. There is, in the beginning, there's this thing where we're all just kind of trying to figure it out, how to sell, you know, some art, or how to sell a commission or whatever. And then there's different stages. There's a stage where you can take it and you can start cranking it up yourself. You don't need workers. You can start cranking it up. What I mean by this is you can start utilizing your time correctly and your energy correctly. You're like, this is something that I learned from a mentor. You're better off doing something every day for 10 minutes than doing it once a week or twice a week for 8 hours at a time. You're better off doing something every day for 10 minutes, whatever that is. There's just so much power in that. There's so much power in the consistency. And so, and also because you can do a lot more things, and you're not gonna half-ass them either. You can do a lot more things. Like how I made this video that I have in my monthly subscription for artists. This video on time management, right? How to utilize time. I don't really call it time management, but it's how to utilize time. If you're an artist, if you're a busy artist, if you're a busy person, whatever you're doing, right? Everyone is busy. And so this is something that I learned from a coach, which was make your time, expand your time by shortening your activities. You shouldn't spend 2 hours trying to wash your car. You shouldn't spend 2 hours on Instagram. You shouldn't spend, unless Instagram is where you're getting your income from, like it's the thing that you're making your sales from Instagram or something. But if you're not, there are sales, but you can't really measure it, you should have as many activities as possible in your day around your artwork. And I break it down how I do it. I break it down in this video how I do that. This is something that I learned from a mentor that later became a coach, and it was a game changer. It's very simple to do, but your mind tends to get in the way, right? Because when you see that something is fun or it starts working, you want to put more time into it. And when you start putting more time into it, you get tunnel vision, and then you stop seeing the opportunities elsewhere. You start seeing the opportunities elsewhere, and that's always difficult. I think a good artist career is someone who's nimble, someone who's flexible, someone who doesn't get stuck or has a fixed mindset, has an expansive, a growth mindset. Someone who's creating artwork, and that same day they're doing 10 or 20 different activities. And I don't mean activities as in, oh yeah, I do like 30 activities because I did 30 watercolors. No, that's one activity. 30 if you sit there and you're like doing one watercolor, or you do 30, it's one activity. I don't care if you do 1,000 watercolors, it's still one activity. Because it's different things came out of that activity, but it's just one activity. Making phone calls, whether you do one phone call or you do 1,000 phone calls, is one activity. And this is what a lot of artists out there don't get, that we confuse all these things with activities. And so we end up with a day where like, oh my God, I did so much today. Well, one of the things how I measure the success of my day, one of the things that I use is measuring tools, right? Is how many activities did I do today? Not how many things I did, because I could sit there and do that all day. I could sit on Instagram and do so much on Instagram, but Instagram is just one activity. What about painting? What about packaging? What about marketing in other ways? What about other social media platforms? You know? And so it also gets you out of being overwhelmed. Ultimately, it's what I'm trying to share here. When you do multiple activities, you don't have time to get overwhelmed. The only times where I've gotten overwhelmed in my career, I recently became overwhelmed, and I made a video about it yesterday, is when I become singular. When I get so fixated on something that I start neglecting all the other things that I need to do. And then that becomes overwhelming, and that becomes stressful. So when I recognize that I'm doing that, I take a couple of steps back. I'm like, dude, I've been loco. I gotta shut my mind down for a couple of days. You see what I mean? So one way to get out of your own way, I think it's the best way. Personally, I think it's the number one way. Probably the only way for a human being. Aside from like being spiritual and shit like that, you know. One way to get out of your own mind is to go do a bunch of activities in a single day. Like saying yes to life. Usually we say no and we get fixed on something. It's like getting fixed on someone, right? That's all you're thinking is about that person. All you're thinking, all day, you're just thinking about that person. Whether that person pissed you off or you fell in love with that person, all you're doing is you're thinking about that person all day. And so you can't function anymore because your mind occupies that territory is occupied, right? By that one person. So you become singular. And that creates stress and all kinds of things. And what I found out in my own career is like, dude, you got to be doing at least 10 different things, at least 10 different things every day. 10 different things. And the funny thing, this is the secret to it, is that when you do many things, it relaxes you. Why? Because it gets your mind off of the problem, whatever the problem is. So let's say you're doing something, you know, you're trying to make a commission and the commission's not coming out. You don't sit there and try to paint the commission until it comes out. No. Commission's not coming out, or you're just frustrated with the painting or whatever. You get to a point where you're tired with the painting, and you already put in 2 or 3 hours in it or whatever you needed to do. Don't put more time. The solution is not to put more time into it. I don't think that's the solution. The solution is to, you're now going to go and you're going to go do some marketing, you know, but do it for a little bit. This is why I told this to Nas. Do it for a little bit. Do it for only like 15 minutes. Do some marketing on Instagram or 10 minutes. And then go do some marketing on LinkedIn. And then don't just do marketing, right? Like posting stuff on social media or whatever. Go package a painting. If you haven't sold anything, clean the studio. Clean your brushes. Don't stay all day doing that either. You know, do it for just a small period of time, a short period of time, a gap, a pocket. I call them little pockets. Do it for a pocket, and then do something else, and then do something else, and then something else, and before you know it, the bliss of life comes back to you again. I believe the bliss for many humans, probably most humans, is in movement, and movement, not just the physical movement, but movement of thought. You're not in the same thinking pattern all day. You know, one day you're creating artwork, one moment you're creating the same day you're creating artwork, and then you're packaging artwork, and then you're sending a letter to someone, or you're typing an email, or you're writing an article, or you're making a video. You're cleaning your studio, you're cleaning your brushes, you're stretching a canvas. You want to be doing different stuff. Because it gets the motor started. It gets that motor. The most important thing is to get the machine started. Most people don't never really start their machine. Their personal, their own machine. They never really start it because they get too fixed on one activity. And so, you know, I say many times, it's like being a farmer and being like, oh yeah, I just like planting stuff. Well, yeah, dude, you can't just spend your time planting stuff. You're not a very good farmer if you're just planting stuff. You got to work the land, right? You got to sharpen the tools. You got to take care of your machinery. Change the oil in your John Deere, baby. Or if you have horses, you got to take care of those horses, right? Feed them, go take them for a walk, blah, blah, blah. You know? You have to mend that fence. You have to do different shit. Otherwise, you're not a very good farmer. Unless you have 100 farmers working with you in that farm. You have 100 hens working with you in that farm. Then I get it. I completely get it. You only like planting, though. That's good. Even then, you're probably extremely busy in other areas. If you're the one who owns the the farm and you have 100 hands helping you there, and you don't have time to farm, and you love farming, and you spend some time planting, I am sure that if you're the owner, you have another 100 different things that you're doing. All kinds of other things that you're doing, expanding the farm, closing the deals, making sure that the seeds got there and that the produce got there, and that whatever, writing checks, making sure that your workers are in good condition, you're taken care of, and on and on and on and on and on. There's all kinds of things. It's the same thing. When I'm talking about, it's the same thing. Platinum Baby's back. I love that. So there it is, my friends. I hope that this was worth anything to anyone out there. The trick is in the multiple activities. That's the trick. In a single basket. Okay? Not multiple things in one activity. No. One basket, your career, many activities in that basket. That's the trick. And go on YouTube. Go on Medium. I've spent my entire life, probably as an artist, my entire career at least, trying to find out what the trick is. The trick is multiple activities in a single vacuum. I promise you, if you go try to read and find out about it, no one's telling it. No one's talking about it. I spend my time trying to figure it out and how to put this concept in words. How to put this concept in words, guys. No one's talking about it. And it's sad. More people should be talking about it. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Take care. Talk to you guys later. Thank you so much, Amy.